Of course, all bets you make will reveal some information about your opponent's hand. So remember to be mindful and pay attention to the player's tendencies at the table. Even when you aren't in the hand, valuable information can be observed about your opponents. As you might have noticed from one of the examples earlier on, often you might be betting for a variety of reasons. Moreover, although you might be betting on the flop for, say, information, you might be betting on later streets for different reasons, as the cards you hold change value as they interact with each street. Take a look at the following example of betting for a combination of reasons. You can see the button limps, and I call in the small blind with ace 4. Three players see the flop, which comes jack 4-3. I decide to bet here for three of the reasons we spoke about. Firstly, our hand could often be the best at this point, so it's a value bet. However, with such a small pair, many higher turn cards could give our opponents the lead, so this is also a protection bet. Finally, this bet is also designed to give us some more information about our opponent's hands, and if they have anything at all on this dry board. The button calls and the turn is a beautiful ace. Our hand is very likely ahead here, but remember when value betting, take a moment to consider what our opponent might be holding. Well, he didn't raise on the flop, so he might have a small pair and have been scared of the jack, or perhaps have ace high and have called to see what we do on the turn. Obviously we hope it's the latter, as if our opponent has an ace, we can win a big pot with our 2 pair versus his 1 pair. I bet again just over half the pot size, hoping for a call. Our opponent doesn't disappoint, and it seems fairly clear now that it was indeed the latter. Our opponent didn't believe our flop bet and called with an ace and now has top pair, which brings us to one of the crucial points we touched on. Bet as much as you think your opponent will call. Given the river comes a repeat 3 and we believe our opponent to hold an ace, how much do you think we should bet here? Okay, well if you said 1,000, well that's really too small. And if you said 1,500, you just cost yourself over 1,500 in chips. Players hate folding, especially with an ace, so go right ahead and move all in for our remaining 3,591 as we do here, and our opponent quickly snaps us off, and in true PokerNerve style, we flash the winning hand and double up, crippling our opponent in the process. By thinking out each street and weighing up our options before acting, this is an example of how you can maximize your gains.